Hey guys, Amr the Internet Guy here, welcoming you to Online, the show that helps business owners be more successful online without breaking the bank. So, since this is our first episode, and I'm hoping that you'll be following us and you'll be listening to the next few episodes and perhaps listening to all of them, let me tell you what to expect when you come to this show. So I have created this show mainly to help business owners and entrepreneurs do more business online without being stuck with technology and without breaking the bank. So the aim here is to give you tips, tricks, have some discussions, interviews with other business owners like you, with digital marketers, with industry professionals that will show you how to get things done without any headache and without pulling your hairs out. In the first episode, we are discussing my name, the Internet Guy. And it's actually a funny story that I'm telling. Why are people calling me this? And what I've been doing in the past few years to help entrepreneurs and business owners be more successful online. I'm being interviewed by Mike Arboit from the Fountainhead Network. So let me thank you one more time for being here, and let's go to episode 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Poe Community. I'm Mike Arboit, and I'm sitting here with Amr, the Internet Guy.
Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going, man?
Well, good, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, your story and everything.
Oh, okay, you have all day?
I have all day, yeah, I do.
So the first thing is, if you realize my name is only 3 letters, it's just AMR, which is very hard to pronounce usually, so I ended up having nicknames.
Yeah.
So my first nickname was Amor, and then this gave me some kind of a reputation because it's like love in Latin languages.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be known as the love guy.
Why not?
I'm married already. Taken. Sorry, guys. But when I started to work, one of the things that caught up my attention. So if we go back to my first Windows computer, so like any kid in the old days, you'd learn a little bit of programming. Your parents would buy you whatever computer was available at the moment, and at these times, nothing compared to what we have these days.
Yeah.
It was like an Amstrad or a Sinclair or whatever, like something black, small, with a very small screen that's like kind of gray and black,
Yeah.
and the text wasn't even good contrast. Like it was, I think, yellow or something on the screen. And if you switch it off, it doesn't save. There was no hard disk. But you kind of play around with it, try to create a game, try to program bits and pieces and learn a little bit. And then I went to university. I took some programming courses of languages that are no longer in use, like COBOL and Fortran. And I left it. After this, I just worked in sales and marketing. Then I joined one of the airlines, and I was actually a cabin crew, like an air host.
Nice.
And during my time in the airline, I wanted to learn more, not only about technology, but I was always thinking. So when I joined the airline, I was 1994. I was 23? Yeah, I was 23. So the first 2 years, of course, I'm traveling, I'm seeing the world, I'm having a lot of fun. But after 2-3 years, you start thinking, okay, what's next? Am I going to stay in this job for the rest of my life and retire? Which is not a bad thing. It's a good job, you get good money, you meet nice people, you see the world. But the hardest thing is you can't have a regular, stable relationship.
Yeah.
And, let alone have kids and build a family. I don't know, my colleagues who are still doing it, kudos to everybody. And to all of you guys, I couldn't do what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I started to learn different bits and pieces, and the first thing is I became a trainer. So within the airline itself, I took a few courses and I became one of the trainer. I didn't do an awful lot of courses, for some reasons and flying schedules and stuff. I've done a few, but I was always thinking about what's next. So 1996, I think I got my Windows 95 computer with one of these modems, and it was my first experience with the internet. And I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know how to shut off the computer. I'd just go and unplug it.
Yeah.
But the most fascinating part for me was things like email. Like, I couldn't believe that you can type a message and it arrives after a few seconds, and like, I'm like, what? And there's no paper.
Yeah.
I'm a fax guy and a rotary phone guy. Like, that's the.
Yeah.
So I took it upon myself to just like, how does this? I wanted to know how this works. So I looked around for courses, for anything, and you got to remember, 1996, the internet was slow. We didn't have the dot-com boom or bubble yet,
Yeah.
and there were no courses. The only IT courses that were like fashionable back then was the Microsoft Engineer certification, and I kept on and off, like looking at it, and it was hard because if you wanted to learn, there was nothing online like these days.
Yeah.
And I'm flying, so I have no control over my schedule, so I can't go to a university or a specific institute and have like, like 5 days a week, 40
Yeah.
whatever, 40 hours per week, and then do it in 4 weeks and get my certification. It was very hard. So I started to play around, break my computer, and go give it to the, where I bought it from for the guys to fix it. And then I would just stick around and try to learn what they're doing. And then the next time I break it, I try it myself. If it works, good. If it doesn't, did the same thing with the internet. Started to read on the internet, like, at the time, how things work. And, there was I remember, I think it was, I can't remember which site it was, but it was one of the most basic sites. That's like Wikipedia now. Like at the time, there was no Wikipedia. And I think it was, I don't know, maybe ISOC, which is the Internet Society, like one of the main bodies of, I wouldn't call them the regulators of the internet, but one of the main bodies that's in charge of making the internet better.
Yeah.
And I went there, and then it all came to action in, I think, 2000. I found a good course. So finally, I found like a great course that teaches you how to be a webmaster. And the course itself had different modules. One of them, which was the hardest one, was networking. So for you to understand how computers communicate with each other, and for everyone to understand that the internet, as we call it, the internet, is just a massive network. And so many machines are communicating with each other. So I needed to learn that infrastructure to understand how my email can reach somewhere without a paper in a few seconds.
Yeah.
And then the next module was the languages that are used on the internet. And of course, like the most famous one is HTML language, which web designers used to write in order to create a website. And the idea was really basic at the time. And, is you want that page to look exactly the same, no matter where it's open, on which computer, on which browser, on which, like at the time, of course, we didn't have mobile devices and smartphones and stuff.
Yeah.
But before the internet, if you've written a document in anything, let's say Microsoft Word, and you send it to somebody, if they don't have the same version that you're using, they wouldn't see it exactly as you intended. Yeah. And that was the whole idea of HTML as a language. It was like you wanted to look exactly the same everywhere. And that's why nowadays websites, if you're in Japan, you'll see exactly the same thing that you'll see if you're in Australia or here in Canada or whatever. And I learned that like bit by bit to like, to the point that like everything there was to know about HTML, everything there was to know about some of the other coding languages that existed at the time, like JavaScript and some others. And then the last module was the most fun, was about e-commerce. And you got to realize this was what, that was 2001, just when the dot-com bubble burst and everybody wanted to be Jeff Bezos and Amazon, but nobody understood how it works. And actually our study case was Amazon at the time. Little did we know that it's going to be, the biggest retailer on earth, and Jeff Bezos would be the richest man and take over Bill Gates and the Queen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like people were making fun of him at the time because he wasn't making profit.
Yeah.
2000, 2001, 2002, the people thought Jeff Bezos was crazy because he's not making any profit.
Yeah.
But what he was saying is that I'm making money. I'm just not taking it as profit. I'm reinvesting it into Amazon. And that was like pretty much like by the time I finished and I got my certification, I was hired by one of the institutes of technology as an e-commerce consultant. I used to train like CEOs of companies at the time. Like companies didn't have anything online. They didn't have a website, let alone an e-commerce storefront. So they'd come to an institute of technology or a university to try and find who's working on that, and then hire you by the hour from the institute to just work with them as a consultant and get things up and running. And this was the start. Like, they couldn't pronounce my name, so they called me the internet guy. Like, we're meeting with the internet guy. Like, okay, fine. My name is Amr, by the way. But
hey, it worked out. It's a good. It's like a good title to have, though. Like, it sticks out, right?